I saved for 7 years, skipping dinners, working extra shifts, and denying myself every luxury, just to buy my dream home. When the day finally came, I invited my whole family to a housewarming. I cooked, decorated, and waited for them with a smile. But hours passed, and no one came. Not a single call, not a single text. I stood in the middle of my new home, surrounded by balloons and food that would never be eaten, realizing that the people I loved most didn't care at all. That night, something inside me broke. And that's when I decided, if they couldn't celebrate my success, they'd witness my revenge instead. Hey everyone, welcome back to Revenge Flame, the channel where real life betrayals turn into unforgettable stories of karma and payback. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because today's story is about something deeply personal. Imagine working, saving, and sacrificing for 7 years to finally buy your dream home, only to have the people you love most completely ignore you on the happiest day of your life. This isn't just about heartbreak, it's about what happens when family takes you for granted one time too many. Stick around, because the revenge in this story will leave you speechless. I grew up in a family where achievements were rarely celebrated, unless they belonged to my siblings. I was always the quiet one, the one who worked hard in silence, while they mocked me for being too serious or too boring. For years, I kept my head down, saving every extra penny I could. While my siblings traveled, partied, and bought fancy clothes, I worked late shifts, skipped vacations, and lived in a tiny apartment. Why? Because I had one dream: to buy a home of my own, a place that was mine, where no one could throw me out or belittle me. My parents always said I'd never make it, that I was too cautious and would waste my life working. My siblings laughed at the idea of me owning a house before them. That only fueled me more. So after 7 long years of sacrifice, paperwork, and saving, I finally held the keys to my dream home. I thought my family would be proud that for once, they'd see my hard work as something worth honoring. I was wrong. What happened next showed me exactly where I stood in their eyes. The week leading up to the housewarming, I was buzzing with excitement. I sent out invitations, personally called my parents and siblings, and even reminded them multiple times. Everyone promised they'd be there. I cooked their favorite dishes, decorated every corner of the house, and even bought extra chairs, expecting a full house. For once, I thought I'd finally be the center of my family's attention. But the first red flag came when my sister casually said, "Don't expect us to stay too long. We might have other plans." It stung, but I brushed it off. Then my brother laughed, saying, "Wow, all this for just a small house? You're acting like you bought a mansion." His words stayed with me. Still, I hoped deep down that when they walked through the door, I'd see pride in their eyes. The day of the event, I waited. I kept checking the clock, pacing between the kitchen and the living room. An hour passed, then 2, still no one. I tried calling, no answers. I texted, all left on read. Finally, I saw pictures pop up on social media. My siblings had gone out to a fancy restaurant together, without me. My own parents were tagged, smiling in the background. That was the moment my joy turned into humiliation. I realized this wasn't forgetfulness. This was deliberate. They chose to ignore the biggest milestone of my life, all while pretending I didn't exist. And that's when anger began to replace my heartbreak. At first, I told myself maybe they were just running late. Maybe the traffic was bad, or they'd lost track of time. But as the hours dragged on, that tiny spark of hope started to fade. I refreshed my phone over and over, waiting for a call or even a single text. Nothing. When I finally opened social media and saw the truth, my stomach dropped. There they were, my parents, my siblings, even my cousins all dressed up, laughing at a high-end restaurant. Plates of food, champagne glasses clinking, smiles plastered on their faces. And the caption? "Family night out, nothing better." I stared at the screen in disbelief. Family night out? On the very night I invited them to celebrate my biggest accomplishment? My chest burned with anger, my throat tightened, and tears blurred my vision. I had spent 7 years fighting for this moment, dreaming of sharing it with them, only for them to choose each other over me. Not only had they ignored my housewarming, they had publicly humiliated me, showing the world that I wasn't part of their real family. I sat in my beautifully decorated living room, balloons hanging limp, food getting cold, lights twinkling for no one. The silence of my empty house was deafening. My dream, which should have been filled with laughter and warmth, now felt like a cruel joke. That night, as I cried myself to sleep, hurt turned into fury. And in that fury, a thought took root: if my family wanted to treat me like an outsider, Then I'd give them a reason to regret ever underestimating me. For days, I replayed the humiliation over and over in my mind. Every time I thought about that empty living room, the untouched food, and their smiling faces at that restaurant, my anger grew sharper. They had made it clear in their eyes my success meant nothing. But I wasn't going to let them forget this. A week later, my parents casually called me, acting as if nothing had happened. My mom said, "We were so busy, maybe we can come see the house another time." My siblings chimed in with fake excuses, blaming work and last-minute plans. I stayed calm on the phone, but inside, I made a decision. If they couldn't celebrate me, then I would remind them exactly what they missed in a way they'd never live down. I planned a second event, not a housewarming, but a community dinner. I invited neighbors, colleagues, and friends. The house was packed, filled with laughter, music, and people who actually cared. And here's the twist. I live-streamed the entire thing on social media. Photos, videos, and reels of every happy moment went online for the world to see. My family couldn't ignore it. They watched from the sidelines as strangers complimented my beautiful home, praised the food, and celebrated me in ways they never did. Even better, people in our extended family started commenting things like, "Why weren't you there? Such a proud moment." My siblings tried to downplay it, but the damage was done. Their absence was noticed and judged. For once, the tables had turned. I didn't have to yell, beg, or confront them. My revenge was simple. I built a life worth celebrating. And I showed everyone exactly who wasn't invited to share it. The fallout was immediate. My siblings called me, furious that I had embarrassed them online. My parents accused me of making them look like bad parents in front of the extended family. But for the first time in my life, their anger didn't shake me, it empowered me. Because the truth was out there, and everyone saw it for what it was. I had achieved something incredible, and they had chosen to belittle it. Neighbors and friends continued to congratulate me, while distant relatives messaged asking why my own family hadn't been there to support me. My parents had no answers, and my siblings grew quiet when they realized their excuses held no weight. As for me, I finally understood that family isn't defined by blood, it's defined by love, respect, and support. That night, standing in my dream home filled with people who genuinely cared, I felt something I had been chasing for years: peace. And the sweetest part of it all? My revenge wasn't cruel. It was simply showing them that I could shine without them, and they would have to live with the shadow of their own absence. Looking back, I realized my family's absence. That night was more than just a missed event. It was a mirror showing me the truth I had avoided for years. I had always tried to earn their love by working harder, sacrificing more, and proving my worth through achievements. But the truth is, love and respect shouldn't have to be earned like that. They should be freely given, especially by the people who claim to be your family. At first, I thought my revenge was about humiliating them, making them feel the sting of rejection that they had given me. But over time, I understood that the real victory wasn't in their shame, it was in my freedom. By celebrating with people who genuinely cared, I finally saw that I didn't need their approval to validate my success. My dream home became a symbol of something much bigger: resilience, independence, and self-worth. It reminded me that the best revenge isn't about destruction, it's about growth. When you rise above those who try to drag you down, you don't just prove them wrong. You prove to yourself that you were always enough. So if there's one lesson I carry with me, it's this: family isn't always who you're born with. Sometimes it's the people who show up for you, who stand by you, and who celebrate your wins without jealousy or conditions. And once you find those people, you'll never feel the need to beg for love again. So tell me, what would you have done if your own family ignored the most important day of your life? Would you have stayed quiet or taken revenge in your own way? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more powerful tales of revenge and justice. Until next time, this is Revenge Flame, where every betrayal sparks a story worth telling.